Just like you said, I took a few turns before ending up in infection prevention. I started my career back home in my home country, the Gambia, as a nurse. I did 2 year 3 year ADN. Our ADN program was 3 years, so I did college for 3 years, graduated with a registered nurse degree. I worked for like a few months and then got school in the US. So I came in for my bachelor's degree, which landed me in Des Moines, Iowa. When I came, because our program in the Gambia was not fully accredited and not recognized in the US, I had to do like I got enrolled into a 4 year program. So all of that credit somehow did not transfer. So I was starting all over because the educational system was also a bit different with the US. So I kind of understood why that did not transfer over. I did one semester, realized that some of the courses that I was taking were just repetition of what I had studied. And so I started studying for my NCLEX the second semester. And by the first year, I got my NCLEX. I passed my NCLEX, so I got registered nurse in the US that allowed the school to accept some of my credits from my previous um, college in the Gambia and transfer that over. So I was able to get my bachelor's in a year and a half instead of the 4 years, which was great. After my bachelor's, I started working in a community hospital in Des Moines, Iowa. I enjoyed nursing. I've always loved caring for people, taking care of people. I like that I can share my humanity with people. I like seeing people come in very sick, but within a couple days we get them out of the hospital, so that felt good. And I think that was what kept me nursing longer than I probably needed to be, because while I loved it, it was not what I had always wanted to do. When I graduated high school, I was torn between going to medical school and studying computer science. But the medical program at the time was like a 7 year program, and then you had 3 years. So I was like, I don't have 10 years in school. Like, that's a lot. That was my thought at the time. And then we did not have a computer science program at my university back then. And so my brother had a friend who was a nurse, a great nurse. He enjoyed what he did, and we were very close. And somehow he talked me into, he's like, check out the nursing program. It's great. You'll love it. And so he got me the application form and I filled it out. At the back of my mind, I was also thinking public health was another area that I was really interested in, because I grew up volunteering for the Red Cross. And so that kind of put me in the public health arena somehow, because we'll go out helping in disaster areas. Like in my country, it was around floods, or sometimes just, a house caught on fire and you're out there trying to help however you can. So it was things like that that kind of introduced me to public health somehow. But I did not know at the time that that's probably what I needed to do. So I went into nursing, and then while I was in Iowa, at my university, I had a really great roommate who turned out to be a great friend. She will always say, Maimuna, you're a germaphobe. You should be an infection preventionist. I was like, what's that? Because I never heard of that. We don't have anything like that. We have public health officials, but infection prevention was not something that I have heard of in my country before coming here. So she would throw things like that. And I was like, what is an infection prevention? She's like, oh, you should look it up. I think you'll be great at it because you really don't like germs and you're pretty smart and you like to teach. So you should look into it. And so I was like, okay. And then I looked into it. I was like, this is very interesting, because it's kind of like a good marriage between my nursing background and the public health aspirations that I had, that I never pursued. And so when I was ready for my master's degree, I looked into getting a program that will help me get some knowledge and skills to better understand the role. Because even she was throwing the word out there because she worked at a hospital that had an infection prevention program. And so she got to interact with the infection preventionists, but she didn't understand what it was. She just knew that they were very big on hand hygiene and other things. And so I started looking into, I was like, this is pretty cool, interesting. Um, it was hard to find a program in the US that kind of would help me with the skill sets and the knowledge that I needed. But I was fortunate to find the one program at the time was with American Sentinel University, now on the Post University. And they had an MSN program with a focus on infection prevention and control. So I took it, really enjoyed the classes, enjoyed the material that we were covering, and it just kind of felt like this is kind of my niche. This is what I really enjoyed doing. And so before I finished the program, I had moved from Iowa to Roanoke, Virginia for my current hospital where I worked at. And they had a great infection prevention program. I kind of found my way in to get to know the people. I started volunteering with them. They had infection prevention day each year during that infection prevention week, and they would do a big educational activity, a whole day of just education. So I'll volunteer and just be like, hey, let me come and help because I wanted to see if this was really something that I wanted to do. And so during the course of my second year of doing that, really, they had an opening for an infection prevention, and I applied and got in, and the rest is history. I've been enjoying this work ever since. But prior to really getting into that, I've done home health, I've done like skilled nursing facility, just trying to find my niche in healthcare. And it wasn't until I found infection prevention that I've really been able to really every day enjoy what I do because this is what I've been looking for the whole time.